Hello everyone. This is evaluate. Evaluate does what it says on the tin. It evaluates large language models. We'll run it. I've already preloaded some API keys into my .env file. I can discuss that in a bit. Let's just look at what it does. So front end available. This is inside the static dir. So we've got an embedded front end running on port 8080 locally. So we're going to choose a model which we've described in our .env file. I'm going to pick out Gemini 2.5 Pro. That's the model we're going to test. So what is the capital city of Italy? Everyone does France, so let's do Italy. Expected output is Rome, and then we'll do a judge. So we pick another model to be the judge. Now you'd probably want to be doing it using Ollama, or a free model to start with. But I'm gonna pay for some tokens and actually do it with. I'm gonna use Gemini Flash to judge Gemini Pro. Typically you'd want to do two different providers, but here we go. I'm just gonna do this to demonstrate what happens. And obviously we've got the inevitable wait while the LLMs do their stuff. So the evaluation result, let me just zoom in on that. It gives you the time. So we're taking performance metrics. So it took 5 seconds for the model. So we call the model as the LLM that does the answers to question, and the judge is the one that does the evaluation of the model. So they're interchangeable, the model and the judge. So that's the model, that's the judge. You can pick and choose which ones you want. So you can see how many tokens you use. So the input tokens were 7, the output tokens 117, and verdict was pass. The actual output conveys the core meaning of, so this is what came back from the judge model. So the expected output was Rome. And why was that? Because that's what we told it. This is very manual. So the other way of doing it is to do a batch run. And there you will actually, you can manually set up a batch run here, but typically you'd want to be doing it with a JSON file. I'll just show you the GUI. So we've got a summary here, 96 evaluations. So this is historic from when I've been testing, and it's stored the previous history in my local SQLite database. So you can see most of them passed, but it's much easier if we just look at the GUI. And if I just zoom out slightly, wrong way. You can see most of my tests have been done with Gemini, and we've got, to be honest, some of the tests that we're doing were experimental, so this is not a fair reflection on the LLMs. This is just me demoing my software. So once you start using it properly, with proper prompts and proper expected results, you should get some more realistic output. So to start with, it was being, I would say it was being a bit pedantic. So again, by changing your system prompt, you can tell it not to be so fussy or to pick out the capitals. For instance, if you were doing a capital city agent, you would tell it in the system prompt to focus on picking out the capital city when it's evaluating. You can modify the judge system prompt for the judge as well, and all of these have got API endpoints. So I'm showing you the GUI here, but basically all of these are doing calls to the API. Okay, so this is straight from the GitHub repo, calling the endpoint with the content type JSON, specifying the model, prompt, the expected result, the judge model, and the criteria. So you could change that to say, I want the exact name. If you were doing some mathematics, you would say, does the answer include? So you can adjust the criteria. Let's run it. Again, not quick, but these models are getting slower but better, arguably. And this is taking quite a while, but there we go. So the judge model took 12 seconds. This has nothing to do with my code, by the way. This is the time it takes to call the LLM. We're beholden to the providers on this. So verdict was pass. Reasoning gives you the reasoning. The confidence, it didn't need to because it's pass. So the actual output correctly identifies Paris as a capital city. There's a full sentence rather than just the name. It contains the correct expected information. You can see the input, the output tokens, total latency. So the judge was 7. So the latency was 4.9 seconds. The judge was 7.3. So the total was basically 5 plus 7, which is 12. So there we go. That is just the example of using a single command. And the batch, do you want me to show you the batch? Let's do a batch one just for lols. If I need to run, I need to call my sample JSON. So you can do this as soon as you clone my repo, you will have the ability to do this. So actually let's do QA sample JSON. There you can see it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think it's 5 questions in there. So different is talking about a book, a math question about how long it takes to cycle somewhere, question about Japan, and Germany. So if we run that, sorry, my bash history is getting it. Right, let's do that straight from the repo, straight from the example. So this will take longer because it's doing 5 requests to the model and 5 requests to the judge model as well. So if we consider that one request took, 16 seconds. We have pass. So it's asked a question about a book. Got another pass there. That was the same one. Got a mathematics question there. And it's passed. So a cyclist travels at a constant speed of 20 kilometers an hour. How long will it take them to travel 50 kilometers? Okay. We know that LLMs aren't great at maths, but they can answer stuff like that. You'd probably write a MCP server with a calculator or a tool to do that, really. So pass. So we had 4, 5 passes there, I believe. Passed. Yeah. I've run this before, so if you run it twice, you should get. If you get 5 passes the first time you run it, you should get 5 passes the second time. If you want to do your own, you could just edit. You could just edit this and just come in here instead of if you didn't want to. Showing the country examples here. Let's look at something else, not country. So there we've got hours and minutes. So you could pass in a different number of hours and minutes if you want to keep it the same. You don't have to use the Ginger syntax at all, but it just keeps it parameterized in case you want to do a similar question. So you could just copy that entire block and then just change the distance or change the hours or whatever. So that's the example. Feel free to modify that example or come up with your own. And if we actually just quickly go back to, you can see this is the logging from the evaluate Rust backend. And if we go right back up to the top, we'll find our link to the dashboard because I'm too lazy to type it in. And we should see we've got a different graph. The graph's updated. That's broken. Let's go to summary. And at 10:42, so 2 minutes ago. Pass. So those were the 5 questions, which are a bit easier to read here than they were in the JSON. So tokens, judge, model. So the M is that model, J is a judge, timestamp, verdict. Have fun, enjoy it. Thanks for watching.